Welcome. This is Crimey Queen. If you are joining us for the first time, this is the channel where we are getting excited about love. This is where we ignite that which dwells from within us, that which comes alive, makes us smile, makes us laugh. Hence, we say the crimson light is life. So, laughing and smiling added together, which of course we must smile to laugh, but each is 22. 2 and 2 equals 4, and of course, 4 and 4 is 8, which forms the or infinite number. That is a number of completion and wholeness. Okay, but as we know and can see here, that it still, as life goes on, requires us to have this movement. Hence, we are on the number 9. We have done a series of exercises on number 9, which I call the inland revenue. And of course, I have completed a presentation that explains how beautiful the word inland equals 9 and revenue also equals 9. And this was all intuitively done spontaneously. And this is why we are believing that we are guided, divinely guided, with this template on how we conduct the exercises here. So do, of course, be encouraged by these exercises, and to understand the sacrifice template more clearly, you can also check out videos on intuitive template that explains the 15 vibrations. So that is one of the videos you can watch. You can also watch my videos that has templates to numerology, or to actualizing self-love, templates to numerology. So I have individual numbers, but they interrelate. So you may have come across a number 4, but then it may also show you how number 13 or number 2 really coincides under the same column here of number 2 here in this BKT. So we not only highlight the attributes, or the scenarios, or what we learn from sacrifice, but we see how the patterns of each number and letter really plays out. Okay, so I would like to continue with the story of Job, right? So because we have been working with number 9, I thought, and I have done a presentation on Job, and I think it is called, okay, I haven't, one moment. Okay, it's really the game, I think it's called, yeah, the Battle of Job and Satan. So I've got 3 presentations that I have done on the Battle of Job and Satan, but it wasn't really in the context of the number 9. So now we are revisiting the story of Job, and in reference to the number 9. Okay, so let's take this off. I found a very interesting line with Job. Okay. I think most people know the story of Job. So I've always felt that the story of Job sounded a little bit unfair, that it seemed like Job was stuck in the middle of this bet between God and Satan. Of course, the story goes something like this. So God said to Satan, have you been looking at my son or my servant Job? So in fact, let's just look at the word servant, because it's just Servant. So this is 3, 7 letters, 8 letters, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters. It just occurred to me it might be 9, and I may be wrong, but let's see, 1, 5, 2. Okay, so this is 8, and that's 28. 29, 37, 30. 8. So that's 38. If I just count this again, so this is 10, 20, 28. 28, not 38. 28. Okay, so this is 10. All right, so 10 is quite appropriate in the sense of we have seen how 10 is really 9. So this is 10, but basically 10 is really where a mother has given birth. There is newness, of course. So we see that's where the split had come. 9 is where there is the split in that which is. So you can identify one part from the other, left or right, up or down. So you see the two segments. Okay. All right. So, all right. But let's do, this is Job 1, 6, 2. So basically, this, when we add this together, that equals 9. What I found very interesting, of course, with Job, it's as if the story of Job really is that whole um, teaching, as if it's meant to bear the most profound lesson, or one of the most profound lessons, really, and how a man would be. Okay, I was giving you the insight to how the story is, in case you don't know the story. God said, have you been observing my servant? Have you got your eye on him, so to speak? And um, Satan said to God, well, you have got him in a safe place. I don't think, no matter what, he's going to be faithful to you anyway, because you've got a hedge around him. You have protected him. So meaning I am powerless to do anything. And basically God said, well, I can take all those things away, all these riches that he has and whatever it is, I can take those away and see if you could really get him to bow down or worship you. He will always love me. This is that. So there are two masters in the earth, and Job in the middle, of course, with no idea of what is going on. But basically, God and Satan has this bet, and God is saying, I bet you can't really have him to dishonor me, basically. So, and but I'll tell you what, whatever you do, just don't lay your hand on him. Don't take his life away. Don't take his life away, or don't stretch. Or whether you have your hand, or I think it was said, don't stretch your hand, but don't take his life. Okay. Now, life equals 5. I have done this before. So if you I would also urge that you check out the templates, or the video on the Battle of Job and Satan, which explains a bit more about the story. But we see this is where when we do the numerical value for life, it comes to 5. And so this would be the life that Job would have. Now here, of course, Job, because we are looking at the functions of and structures of the person's name, that tells a lot of the person's character. Yeah, about the character, how they are made up. So we have J, and there is O, and there is B. And I like how this also forms like an 8, but we see that it's like interlink here. Okay, so that was Job's name. But Satan, which I must show you here, Satan is here, S A, of course, because he's so close. He has direct contact. There is a part of him that has very close contact under this one vibration with Job. So SA, and he is T, S, Satan, TA, and N. So he's here. So basically, just going by this pattern here, we see that the name Job comes to J-O-B, and Satan is here. He's very concentrated in this part, but he has an N here. Basically, he has four letters, S-A-T-A-N, and he is there in this part, but he is able to be in that life channel as well. But so we can say basically Satan, when we are faced with him, we are faced with him here. It's that new, it's where we make that decision to stay, whether in this new section in the end, or to so that we can move on. And it's no wonder when I was compiling this template, I had no inclination or no power, one could say, to change the letters on this side. I could manipulate the functions or layout of those letters here, but not on this side. So that's why I'm urging that you can have a look at those templates to numerology or intuitively done. And when you go through particularly the earlier templates, you will see how they came about. So that was all about on Easter time. So you can see how the vibration itself has nurtured us in growing from March, Easter time, in and now, which was the I'm just thinking about this now. March was the third month, which was the third vibration, and I had not taken into account that again, the intuitive notion to start those presentations on March. It would be interesting to even check on the date that I started. However, now we are in the 8th month. Of course, this is where a mother is fully pregnant and really about to give birth any moment. So we are in the 8th month. We have been moving from the 7th, 8th month. We know we could deliver that baby anytime. So there we are. We see how, of course, the story went on with Job and Satan, because Job had searched his heart and wondered, was there anything that he had done, because his house had burned down, his children were killed, there were so many things were happening, everything he was stripped out of, all his riches, and of course he, as the scriptures say, he cursed the day he was born, because it's as if to say, what could I have done to have endured such an awful life? But the story goes on. It's much more to that. But what I have been looking at is that, and anyone, I'm believing most people who are tuning into this is aware of the story in the Holy Bible, and um, it also is a story that I think it has. I think I'm going to have to check. Perhaps Job too had 14 children. There's the number 14 comes to mind, and I may have to do another presentation on that. But I was just intrigued that it's all it is the 18th chapter, the 18th book of the Old Testament. So it's the 18th book of the Old Testament, and when we add, so 18th book of the Old Testament, OT, 18th. So when we add 1 plus 9 together, 1 plus 8, that equals 9. That equals 9. There was another part as well that, of course, some of those books, like Samuel is, or Kings would be book 1 and 2, and so on. But if we were to take these as, or consider those as one book, like it was Kings, just Kings, instead of having Kings 1 and 2, it would have been 15. So when we do 15, it would be 15 books. So if we add 1 and 5 together, that would be 6. So we see we are dealing with, this is where we are dealing with 6 and 9. But basically, let us concentrate really on 9. 9 is that here we see that the book was placed accordingly as well in the Bible as that book that would be birthing newness. It would be birthing um, um, new understanding. It would be a rebirth. The book is of a rebirth. This is a rebirth. I think I have done this numerical value, which equals 3, 9, 5, 2, 9, 9, 2, 8. So this is 10, and 20 is 30, and 45, 44. Oh, it's 44. 44. So this is 8. Of course, 8 is quite appropriate as well for a rebirth, because this is there you go in that completion. It's, of course, like I said, heaven and earth, or there we could also say mother and child. We look at the 4 here, the 2 fours. Sky, blue for the sky. Blue is 4, and green is 4 as well. So we can see how the 2 comes together to form a whole, and there we are talking about rebirth in this sense. The word birth is 21, so of course birth is that vibration. This is 82992, 20, 30. Okay, so we see how 3 is that vibration, and also Job consists of 3 letters, which coincides with that birth. It's as if the book of Job is already presenting to us, it presents to us that makeup by looking at the 3 letters, as it were, even 3 letters here. This is the jazz that went on in the story of Job. There was a lot of theater, a lot of disaster, a lot of um, complaints. People will just, even when things were really rough, someone would be coming to say to Job, oh, did you hear, I've come to tell you, or his servants would come, I've come to tell you, your field burned down and everything was destroyed, and I was the only one left to tell you. So it was going on like this, and every time, of course, he heard something, he would be going through his inner self, checking his soul. What have I done? What was there someone I needed to forgive? Is there something I ought to do? Have I not served my master well? So there was always that reflection. Hence again, you could say in this case, like I have done presentations that show how, or even on what the rapture. So basically, Job was going through raptures and raptures and raptures, and it would seem that that is in direct correlation, not only the position of the chapter in the Bible coinciding with 9, but also the numerical value of 9. We see 1, it starts with 1, which tells us we start at 1, like we learn, because 1, when we do the numerical value for 1, O-N-E, it equals 7. So this is 655. When we add this together, it equals 7. So this one is more or less saying we are whole. This is presenting all the characteristics of everything one could need, be, do, or have in it. It's as if the head, instead of it being bent here halfway here, and being bent, it was all straight up. Okay, so that's what that 1 is about. So 1 in motion comes to that 7, and then it's 6, which tells us this is that impregnation in that 6. The mother is pregnant right here, and there are 2 aspects here. So when we have done numerous presentations on the word be and number 2, which takes us into that 13th column, as in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the template right here. So if you check out my honeybee exercises, or the letter B, or number 2 to numerology, you will see the makeup, or even the Holy Bible, you will see how this is constructed here. So that's what I am talking about. And I thought Job in the Bible is really another story that correlates perfectly with sacrifice. Or yes, so I hope you have found this useful in some way, and just to see how those correlate in today's world, because there's a lot about a rapture going on. But of course, in the story of Job, and every time something happens, it's like saying it presents us we are presented with the opportunity of reflection, introspection, and there, if with these thoughts, which thought also equals 9, so the thought is a rapture that presses down or compels us to examine that which is an inception. I think the word inception is 9. Just let's do this inception. So this is 22. We have done this just to make it easier. 9, 5, 3, 5, 7. So this is 10, 29. So 29 and 22. This is 10, 11. So this would be 1. So it's 51. So inception is really number 6 and not 9. But we could see how, of course, inception, and then there is the delivery. Delivery might be another word. Let's look at the word delivery or deliver. Let's look at this. The LIVER, deliver. 4, this is 4, 5, 3, 9, 4, 5, 9. Okay, so there we have 9 and 9. So, and 9, 3 nines, 4 nines, 36, and 3, 39. Okay, so deliver, we see deliver, that's what 9 does. It delivers. So this word deliver coincides perfectly with number 9 right here in the inland revenue. That's what happened with Job. There was the motion of delivering that newness. Of course, at the end of the story, he was much richer and wiser too, I expect, than before. So, and Satan, of course, had no hold on, could not take his life away, because Job, of course, this is the point I want to make out. We can see in the name Job, Job, that aspect of that closeness was right here in the middle of him being that real whole fox, if you like, because this is what we call Fox City. Now, I like to always point out where the E appears here. It's that Mother Eve is always accompanying us on that journey. Of course, like a fox, and part of that O in Job's name, that gave him the opportunity to check his north, south, east, and west right here on his fox journey. He had to maneuver from Satan, because Satan was only able to come right here as far as the end. Of course, which coincide with the story of where Satan took Christ onto some mountain, of course, here, but Christ was able to say to him, "Get thee behind me." This would be the behind that he would be referring to. As I say from here on, that it's like Satan cannot really or have no hold on you from this point on, from when you were folks. Hence, it is said, when you are in Christ, you are a new creature. Of course, you're also in Mother Eve. And just to conclude, of course, because N of Satan comes into that middle part here as well. This is where we also learn about Mother Eve with the serpent, because Satan was able to be in this dimension. And the other thing is as well, a lot of people say, oh, it's like, they've just repented or they have been new Christians, but they are finding it very challenging when they are new, because they are in this column here. They have been, and there's the T here, of course, and it depends who's using that T for the nail, basically, it's really getting into being a fox. That's when you're safe. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have found this fun. Okay, do watch, like, subscribe, and share, because this is how we do it. We share to actualizing self-love. Stay blessed, stay bright, be a field, because we are planting new seeds of love. Namaste, and spill over with love.